reallifechanges.com, and I have with me Cheryl Millette, who is the director of OM Canada. Mm-hmm. And today we're actually going to be discussing omega-3s and dental health, which when you first think about it, it might not seem like they really go hand in hand. So let's talk about periodontal or gum disease, and maybe we'll start understanding a little bit more why omegas fit into here.
Mm-hmm. It's a key area, and what I've learned is many people have periodontal disease. Mm-hmm. And from the dental hygienist who does my husband's teeth, she mentions that there's bacteria present when you have, or let's say inflammation when you have gum or periodontal disease, and this inflammation has an effect on the cardiovascular system because that's being growing, the bacteria, mm-hmm. is going into the saliva, which is going into the cardiovascular system, which then can stress out the immune system.
Okay, so I heard a key word there, inflammation. Mm-hmm. And we do know omega-3s help with inflammation. Yes. So is that the connection primarily?
That is primarily the connection. In a lot of ways, if they're healthy omegas, mm-hmm. then they can be antibacterial, is another way to look at it.
Okay, wonderful. Mm-hmm. And so when people are taking, for example, the OM omega-3, which is what we're obviously going to be talking about today, what are the results that we've been seeing?
With dental teeth, now I'm going to say something very close, as this is my husband. Okay. In the last year, when he's been taking the Essential D3A, he's noticed a tremendous effect on his teeth. But it's not really him; it's Mina, who is his dental hygienist. Oh, okay. So on one hand, she can tell that it has absolutely come down, and if that's the only thing that he's incorporated, that's a healthier thing, and it's less time in the chair, right, which means less money, as far as the appointment goes that way. But she does emphasize the same thing to me around how that's very beneficial then for how they know gum disease may play a role in the cardiovascular disease.
Okay, I like that. Less time in the chair, which also, if we're taking down the inflammation, is probably meaning less bleeding during...
Actually, that's the key thing. That's the key thing. Is
right.
If you have a lot of bleeding, this would be if you're trying to identify periodontal disease or gum disease, the bleeding aspect, especially when they floss. Like my husband could only floss really in the shower.
Oh wow!
Every other day or something like that, because there was just so much and so painful.
Wow.
And he was going
serious.
to the dentist every 4 months.
Wow!
Right? Every 4 months, just to help remove the things that would absolutely, like plaque, would help the bacteria also grow as well as it builds up. But yeah, so he was so having to bleed, and this is even my brother-in-law, and I'm telling people that are close, same thing. He would get bleeding when he brushed his teeth a lot, and then, all of a sudden there's no bleeding.
Right. Well, I know for me personally that's the one thing that I didn't like going to the dentist for, was because when it was that time for the cleaning, it was that bleeding and definite inflammation around the gums, and I know that was my issue. I don't have any issues when I floss. There's no bleeding or anything anymore, and I've been taking it for 4 years. But then I have a story myself actually to share, which I didn't make the connection between OM omega-3s and dental health, but my mother, who is 76 years old right now, she reported to me she started taking it, and about it's maybe been a year now that she's been taking it, and not too long ago the funniest thing she all of a sudden said to me was, my gums are stronger. And like, she was very dramatic about it. She's grabbing her teeth, she's like, look, they're not wiggling, and that was a big deal for her because, as you get older, you don't want to have to get into the dentures and things like that, and it was quite a concern that they were getting looser, and now she feels that she's got strong bite again, and she's extremely pleased that it's the only change she's made in her day-to-day routine and diet, was adding in this supplement. So it definitely has to be a corresponding benefit.
there's overwhelming. It's just overwhelming the number of people. And then since I learned about it a few years back, because we have a holistic dentist,
Right.
Dr. Hans Schwartzafter out of Richmond Hill, and this was a few years ago, and he came to a lecture, and he was, I could see his jaw dropping, right? Because one of the supplements he sold in his office was omegas. For inflammation, was omegas with fish oils. So when he was hearing about a mammalian source and sublingual,
Right.
he was the one who actually said, don't, swish it around in the mouth. After you hold it under your tongue, swish it around in your mouth, and then swallow. So from that point on, I was sharing with people, we'll swish it around in your mouth.
Right. Well, you told me, and I started doing it
Yeah,
too, because
and
I
then
figured it's in there for so long, I might as well.
And then swallow. I think the other thing that, because you bring up a good thing about the teeth, the gums being tired, the health of the gums, and then the teeth aren't loose. Well, the teeth are connected, and there's an easy chart that shows all the teeth connected to various parts of the body. So when you have teeth pulled, when you have a root canal, which in most cases they say there's some serious infection going on underneath just about every root canal.
Right.
If you can minimize, even if you have a root canal, but if you can minimize, the bacteria growth,
Right.
it's going to be really helpful to keep your own teeth.
Yes.
Because as soon as you get things pulled, and if everything's attached to the nervous system,
Yes.
then that could very well, a root canal, in fact, it could very well affect, if it's that area, let's say maybe the lung or something.
Wow. Well, it's just fascinating how it all ties together for your overall health, well-being, and balance.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Cheryl, for helping
pleasure.
to clarify this point that we may not have really put together.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's best of health to your teeth.
That's great. Thanks.